So I'm back. I've got another arts and crafts project. I'm going to be making a rubber pillowcase. Now I've made one in the past. Here's what it looks like. It turned out pretty good. It's really easy to make actually. It just involves two seams. So there's a seam that I have here on the back that goes across, and then I also have a seam right here on the side. So just two really long seams, real easy to cut out and measure, and let's get to it. So here's everything you'll need to get started. First, you'll need roughly 3.5 feet of rubber sheeting, then an old pillowcase to get the measurements from, also some rubber cement to glue everything together, and some kind of solvent. I prefer paint thinner. In addition, a rotary cutter, a ruler, and a Sharpie. I recommend a purple Sharpie because it's the most visible on black rubber. You also need some way to apply the rubber cement. I prefer a paintbrush and an old plastic hotel room key. Now, let's get all of our measurements. I'm using the permanent marker to make little dots for all the edges of the pillowcase. We're going to need to do this for both sides. You can see one of the dots I made at the edge of the pillowcase. However, I'm going to measure out an extra 2 centimeters so we have a small overlap in order to glue the two sides together. Now, it's just a matter of connecting all the dots in order to finish the pattern. Alright, now it's time to cut out the rubber. This task is a breeze using the rotary cutter, but be careful, I actually ended up cutting myself while doing this. Now, I'm going to use the solvent to clean up all the areas where the glue will be applied. It's also a good idea to clean up all the leftover lines from the permanent marker. On to the gluing. First, I'm going to stick some clear packing tape to the edges of the rubber. This will help prevent the rubber from curling up when the glue is applied. For applying the rubber cement, I'll mainly use the plastic card. This does a good job of providing an even coat of glue across the entirety of the seam. Do the same thing for the other side of the pillowcase. However, keep in mind we'll be gluing the underside. That way we can fold over the other side to glue both seams together. So after waiting 5 minutes for the glue to dry a little, I line the two edges up and start pressing the two sides together. But of course, I ran into a little trouble. Part of the rubber was weakened during the cutting process and ended up ripping off when I tried to glue it down. So I'm just going to work around it and glue the remainder of the seam first. I'm using the paintbrush to add some extra glue to reinforce the area. Now I'll be focusing on that little rip mark, and with that, our seam is done. I'm using a beer can as a rolling pin to push the seams together and squeeze out some imperfections in the gluing process. I also noticed that the matte side of the rubber is facing outwards, so I'm turning the pillowcase inside out so the shiny side is visible. Now, on to the last seam. First, I'll add a bit more tape, then apply the glue to the first side. After waiting 2 minutes for the top to become tacky, I add a light layer of glue to the bottom and squish both ends together. I'm also adding some extra glue to any places that need it. Finally, a few more rolls with the beer can, and we're done! Alright, well with that, I finally have a fully completed rubber bed set. So here is the pillowcase I just made. You can see the seams all nice right here and right here. And this is a really simple thing to make. It's also nice because it helps you learn how to glue rubber seams. And if you mess up, it's really easy to hide it because it's just a pillowcase. Most of the main seams are underneath it. So even if you screw up, not a problem at all. Anyways, I recommend you giving this a shot if you're looking to make your own rubber gear. This is probably one of the easiest things you can make when you're first starting out. Anyways, that's the video. I hope you all learned something, and I'll see you next video.